entitled parent stepdaughter brought strangers home, so I destroyed her in court. I'm standing in my own kitchen at 2 a.m., staring at 3 complete strangers raiding my refrigerator like they own the place. One guy I've never seen before in my life is making himself a sandwich with my deli meat, another is chugging orange juice straight from the carton, and some girl is literally taking selfies with my expensive coffee machine. Excuse me, I say, my voice tight with controlled fury. Who the hell are you people? The sandwich guy looks up with this bewildered expression, mustard dripping from the knife in his hand. Oh hey, you must be Kayla's stepdad. She said we could crash here tonight. Cool house, man. That's when I hear giggling from upstairs, my stepdaughter Kayla's voice mixed with at least 2 others I don't recognize. My blood pressure spikes. This is the 3rd time this month I've come downstairs to find random college kids treating my home like their personal crash pad. Get out, I say quietly. All of you. Now. Coffee machine girl stops mid-selfie. Whoa, chill dude. Kayla said it was fine. We'll be gone in the morning. I don't care what Kayla said. This is my house, and you're leaving. Now. The next morning, I'm waiting at the kitchen table when Kayla stumbles downstairs, still in yesterday's party clothes. She freezes when she sees my face. We need to talk, I say. She rolls her eyes, actually rolls her eyes at me. If this is about last night, they weren't hurting anything. God, you're so dramatic. Dramatic. I've been paying for her college tuition, her car insurance, her phone bill, letting her live rent-free in my guest room, and I'm dramatic for not wanting strangers in my house at 2 a.m. Kayla, I've told you repeatedly that you cannot bring random people here without asking. My wife and I have a right to feel safe in our own home. They're not random, they're my friends. She's got that entitled whine in her voice that sets my teeth on edge. And it's not like we were being loud or anything. You were loud enough to wake me up. And that guy was going through my kitchen like he lived here. She shrugs, grabbing a muffin from the counter. Whatever. I'll tell them to be quieter next time. There won't be a next time, Kayla. I'm serious. She pauses with the muffin halfway to her mouth, finally seeming to realize I'm not backing down. You can't tell me who I can and can't hang out with. I'm 19. You're right, you're 19. Which means you're old enough to get your own place if you want to bring strangers home at all hours. Her face goes pale, then red. You're kidding, right? You'd actually kick me out over this? I'm not kicking you out. I'm setting boundaries. My house, my rules. Don't like it? There's the door. For a second, I think she might actually apologize. Instead, she throws the muffin down and storms toward the stairs. This is bullshit. I'm calling my mom. As her bedroom door slams hard enough to rattle the windows, I sit back in my chair and rub my temples. I've been her stepfather for 8 years, since she was 11. I walked her to school, helped with homework, taught her to drive. I thought we had a good relationship. I had no idea how much worse this was about to get. 20 minutes later, my phone starts ringing. I don't even need to look at the caller ID to know it's my wife Sarah, Kayla's biological mother. What did you say to her? Sarah's voice is sharp before I can even say hello. She's crying and saying you threatened to throw her out on the street. I take a deep breath, counting to 3 before responding. I didn't threaten anything. I told her she can't keep bringing strangers into our house without permission. They're her college friends, Mark. You're being unreasonable. Sarah, I found 3 people I'd never met going through our kitchen at 2 a.m. One of them was drinking straight from the orange juice carton. How is that unreasonable? There's a pause, and I can practically hear her internal struggle. Sarah works night shifts at the hospital, so she's rarely home when these incidents happen. She only hears Kayla's version of events. Maybe you could have handled it more diplomatically, she finally says. Kayla says you were really aggressive with her friends. I told them to leave my house. In what world is that aggressive? She's going through a lot right now with college stress and... We're all going through a lot, Sarah. That doesn't give her the right to treat our home like a fraternity house. The conversation continues in circles for another 10 minutes. Sarah wants me to apologize to Kayla. I want Kayla to follow basic house rules. We hang up without resolving anything. 2 weeks pass. Kayla barely speaks to me, communicating through Sarah when necessary. The house feels tense, like everyone's walking on eggshells. I start to wonder if maybe I was too harsh. Then it happens again. This time I wake up to music thumping through the walls at 1:30 a.m. When I go downstairs, I find the living room transformed into what looks like an afterparty. 7 people sprawled across my furniture, empty beer bottles on my coffee table, and some guy I've never seen passed out on my leather recliner. Kayla's in the kitchen with 2 girls, and they're making what appears to be nachos with ingredients from my pantry. Are you kidding me right now? My voice cuts through the music. The room goes quiet. Everyone turns to stare at me like I'm the party crasher. Kayla's face hardens. We're not bothering anyone. We're just hanging out. Get out. I'm not whispering this time. All of you, out of my house right now. The scramble that follows would be comical if I wasn't so furious. Kids grabbing shoes, mumbling apologies, stumbling toward the door. The guy on my recliner needs to be physically shaken awake by his friends. But as they're filing out, I hear something that stops me cold. Don't worry about it, one girl says to Kayla by the front door. We can crash at Tyler's tomorrow. Just text us the Venmo details like usual. Venmo details? Yeah, no problem, Kayla responds. Same rate as always. The door closes, and suddenly the house feels suffocating. Kayla turns around to find me staring at her. What? She says defensively. What did she mean by Venmo details? Same rate as always. For just a split second, panic flickers across her face. Then she shrugs. Nothing. She was talking about something else. But I saw that look. And suddenly, a lot of things start clicking into place. The constant stream of different faces. The way some of these friends act like they're familiar with the house layout. The fact that Kayla's been buying expensive clothes and gadgets despite not having a job. Kayla, I say slowly. Are you charging these people to stay here? Her silence tells me everything I need to know. You're out of your mind, Kayla says, but her voice wavers. Why would I charge my friends to hang out? I step closer, and she actually backs up against the front door. Don't lie to me, Kayla. I heard what that girl said. Venmo details. Same rate as always. You've been running an illegal hotel out of my house. It's not illegal. The words burst out of her before she can stop them. Her hand flies to her mouth, but it's too late. So you admit it. My voice is deadly calm now, the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. You've been charging strangers money to sleep in my house. Without my permission. Without my knowledge. She straightens up, and I watch her switch tactics in real time. The panic disappears, replaced by that familiar entitled defiance. It's not strangers, it's people from school. And I'm not making them pay rent or anything crazy. Sometimes they just help with expenses. What expenses, Kayla? You don't pay rent. You don't pay utilities. You don't buy groceries. What possible expenses could you have? My expenses. Gas money, clothes, going out with friends. College is expensive. College that I'm paying for. My voice echoes off the walls. Your tuition, your books, your meal plan, I pay for all of it. And you're charging people to sleep in my guest room to fund your shopping sprees? It's not like that. How much? I cut her off. How much have you been charging them? She crosses her arms and lifts her chin. It's none of your business. Wrong answer. I pull out my phone and start scrolling through my banking app. Let's see here. My homeowner's insurance, which covers liability for anyone who gets hurt on this property. My utilities, which have been unusually high lately. My mortgage, which I pay so you have a roof over your head. Stop being so dramatic. $50, I continue, ignoring her. That's what I'm guessing you charge per night. Maybe more on weekends. Let's say you've had paying customers 3 nights a week for the past 2 months. That's what, $600. Maybe more. Her face goes white, and I know I'm in the ballpark. Here's what you don't understand, Kayla. This isn't just about disrespect anymore. You've been operating a business out of my home without my consent. That violates my homeowner's insurance, potentially puts me at legal risk, and could affect my property taxes. Did you report this income? Because the IRS tends to frown on unreported rental income. You're being insane. It's just friends helping out with gas money. Friends don't pay gas money through Venmo on a schedule, Kayla. Customers do. She's quiet for a long moment, and I can practically see the wheels turning in her head. When she finally speaks, her voice has that manipulative sweetness she used to use when she was 12 and wanted something. Look, I'm sorry I didn't ask first. But it's really not a big deal. I'll cut back on it, okay? Maybe just weekends or something. Cut back on it. I stare at her in disbelief. You think this is a negotiation? I mean, it's not hurting anyone. And it helps me have a little independence. Isn't that what you want? The audacity is breathtaking. She's been literally profiting off my hospitality, lying to my face about it, and now she wants to treat it like a reasonable business arrangement. Pack your bags, I say quietly. What? Pack. Your bags. You have until tomorrow night to find somewhere else to live. Her mask finally slips completely. You can't do that. Mom won't let you. Watch me. The screaming match that followed could probably be heard 3 houses down. Kayla went from manipulative sweetness to full nuclear meltdown in about 30 seconds. You can't just throw me out, she shrieked, her voice cracking. I have rights. You have the right to find your own place to run your little hotel business, I shot back. You clearly don't need my house, you've got paying customers lined up. That's when she started throwing things. First it was just a couch pillow, then a magazine from the coffee table. But when she grabbed one of Sarah's decorative vases, I stepped forward. Put it down, Kayla. No. She clutched the vase to her chest like a weapon. You can't do this to me. I'll tell everyone what kind of person you really are. What kind of person am I, exactly? The kind who pays your tuition. Buys your car insurance. Lets you live rent-free while you scam money from college kids. The kind who hates his stepdaughter. The kind who never wanted me here in the first place. That one hit harder than I expected. For a second, I was speechless. 8 years of birthday parties, school plays, driving lessons, late-night talks about boys and college dreams. Did she really think I hated her? Kayla. I started, but she wasn't done. I know you never wanted Mom to have custody of me. I know you wish it was just you and her. Well, congratulations, you're finally getting what you wanted. She slammed the vase down and ran upstairs, her bedroom door rattling the entire second floor when it slammed shut. I stood there in my living room, surrounded by empty beer bottles and nacho crumbs, feeling like I'd been sucker punched. Was she right? Had I somehow made her feel unwanted all these years? Then I remembered the guy passed out in my recliner an hour ago, and the anger came flooding back. Sarah's car pulled into the driveway at 6:47 a.m. I was already dressed and waiting with a cup of coffee, knowing Kayla had probably been texting her mom all night with her version of events. Mark. Sarah's voice was cold when she walked through the front door. We need to talk. Yes, we do. Kayla told me you physically threatened her and threw her friends out in the middle of the night. I set my coffee cup down carefully. Is that what she told you? She's upstairs crying her eyes out, saying you hate her and want her gone. What the hell happened? So I told her. Everything. The Venmo comments, Kayla's admission about charging people, the business she'd been running without our knowledge. I watched Sarah's expression shift from defensive anger to confusion to something that looked like betrayal. She's been charging them. Sarah sank onto the couch. To stay here. 4 months, apparently. Maybe longer. But she doesn't have any money. Her bank account barely has enough for gas. That stopped me cold. What do you mean she doesn't have money? She's been buying designer clothes, expensive makeup, going out constantly. I assumed you were giving her spending money. I assumed you were. We stared at each other as the implications sank in. If Kayla didn't have money in her bank account, where was all the cash from her little rental business going? Sarah, I said slowly, when's the last time you checked her room? What do you mean? I mean really look through it. Her drawers, her closet, under her bed. Mark, I'm not going to invade her privacy. Privacy. I stood up. She's been running an unauthorized business out of our house and lying to both of us about it. Privacy went out the window the moment she started charging strangers to sleep in my guest room. From upstairs came the sound of Kayla's door opening, followed by hushed voices. Multiple voices. Sarah and I looked at each other. Please tell me she didn't. Sarah whispered. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. Male voices. The sound of our front door opening and closing. Kayla. I shouted. Silence. Then, from upstairs, the sound of her window sliding open. I'm taking the stairs 3 at a time, Sarah right behind me. The hallway feels longer than usual as we rush toward Kayla's room. Her door is wide open, never a good sign, and when I reach the doorway, my worst fears are confirmed. The room is chaos. Dresser drawers yanked open, clothes scattered everywhere, and the window is indeed wide open with the screen popped out. But that's not what makes my blood run cold. It's the shoebox on her bed, overflowing with cash. 20s, 50s, even some hundreds, just sitting there like she was counting it when we came upstairs. Jesus Christ, Sarah breathes behind me. I walk to the window and look out. Kayla's car is gone from the driveway, but there are tire tracks in the grass where someone clearly peeled out in a hurry. The drop from her second-story window to the roof over the garage isn't impossible, but it's dangerous as hell. How much do you think is there? Sarah asks, staring at the money. I start counting. The bills are crumpled in mixed denominations, but there's a lot. More than a college kid should have from part-time babysitting or whatever story Kayla's been selling. At least $800, I say, still counting. Maybe more. Sarah sinks onto the bed next to the shoebox. Mark, this is so much worse than just having friends over. That's when I notice the notebook. It's tucked under some scattered clothes, and when I pick it up, my stomach drops. Kayla's handwriting fills the pages, dates, names, amounts. It's a ledger. Sarah, look at this. I flip through the pages, and it's all there. March 15th, Tyler and Josh, $60. March 22nd, Emma's group, $120. April 3rd, random guys from Pi Kappa, $80. Random guys. She's been letting complete strangers sleep in our house and documenting it like a business transaction. Some of these go back 6 months, I tell Sarah, my voice getting tighter with each page. Look at this entry, spring break week, $400, told parents visiting friends. Sarah's face goes pale. Spring break she said she was staying with her roommate's family. She was here the whole time, running a goddamn bed and breakfast. The entries get more detailed as they go on. Notes about which clients are reliable, which ones pay extra for weekend rates, and, this is what makes me see red, a section labeled parent schedule where she's been tracking our work shifts to maximize her operation. She's been planning around when we wouldn't be home, I say, showing Sarah the pages. Look, Mark's poker nights, Sarah's double shifts, both gone, premium rates. My phone buzzes with a text. It's from Kayla, gone to stay with friends. We'll get my stuff later when you calm down. I show Sarah the message, and she immediately tries calling Kayla back. Straight to voicemail. The money, Sarah says suddenly. We can't just leave it here. We're not keeping it. I'm not talking about keeping it. But Mark, if she's been running this like a business, there could be tax implications. And what about the people she owes money to? What if some of her clients think they've paid for future stays? I hadn't thought about that, but she's right. Looking at the ledger, there are entries marked deposit for finals week and prepaid May weekends. Kayla's been taking advance payments for dates that haven't happened yet. We need to call our lawyer, I say. For what? She's our daughter. Stepdaughter, I correct, and immediately regret it when Sarah flinches. And Sarah, she's been operating an illegal rental business out of our home without our knowledge or consent. This isn't just family drama anymore. This could affect our homeowner's insurance, our taxes, our liability if someone gets hurt. Sarah's phone starts ringing. Unknown number. Don't answer it, I say, but she's already picking up. Hello. Yes, this is Sarah. What? No, there must be some mistake. She looks at me with growing horror as she listens. Who is this? I whisper. She covers the phone. Someone asking about their reservation for this weekend. Says they already paid Kayla $200. I take the phone from Sarah's trembling hands. This is Mark. I'm sorry, but there's been a misunderstanding. There are no reservations available at this address. Wait, what? The voice on the other end is young, male, confused. Kayla said we could stay there this weekend for the big game. We already Venmo'd her the money like 3 weeks ago. How much money? 200. Look man, we drove up from State University specifically for this. She said you guys had like a whole guest suite set up for students. Guest suite. I close my eyes and count to 5. What exactly did Kayla tell you about this arrangement? That you and your wife run a cool bed and breakfast thing for college kids. Way cheaper than hotels, and you're totally cool with parties as long as we clean up after ourselves. The audacity is staggering. She's been advertising our home as a party-friendly rental and telling people we're running it together. Sir, I need you to understand something very clearly. My wife and I are not running any kind of business. Kayla did not have permission to take your money or offer our home to anyone. Silence on the other end. Then, so, we're not staying there this weekend? Absolutely not. Then we want our money back. Like, immediately. I look at the shoebox of cash on Kayla's bed, then at Sarah who's gone completely white. We'll figure out the refund situation and get back to you. Can you text this number with your contact information and the amount you paid? As soon as I hang up, Sarah's phone starts ringing again. Different number. Don't answer it, I say, but she's already staring at the screen. Mark, what if there are more people? What if she's taken deposits from dozens of students? Before I can respond, my phone buzzes with a text from the guy I just talked to. Need our money back ASAP. Already booked time off work and bought game tickets. This is seriously messed up. Then another text from a different number. Hey, is the party house still available for next weekend? Kayla said to confirm with the owners. Then another, running late but should be there by 8 p.m. Is the key still under the flower pot? Jesus Christ, I breathe, showing Sarah the messages. She's got people planning to show up here tonight. Sarah's hands are shaking as she reads. Mark, what if they just arrive? What if they think they have the right to be here because they paid? That thought hadn't occurred to me, but it's terrifying. If Kayla's been taking money from multiple groups of college students, some of them might show up expecting access to our house regardless of whether we consent. We need to change the locks, I say. Today. She still has her key, Sarah realizes. And if she's been hiding spare keys around the property. I'm already heading downstairs to check the flower pot by the front door. Sure enough, there's a key wrapped in plastic tucked under the ceramic base. Found one, I call to Sarah. God knows how many others she's hidden. My phone rings. This time it's a number I recognize, our homeowner's insurance company. My blood runs cold. Mr. Davidson. This is Jennifer from Mutual Assurance. We received a rather unusual call this morning from someone claiming there was an incident at your property last weekend involving multiple unregistered guests. Could you give us a call back to discuss your liability coverage? The voicemail ends, and I stare at the phone in disbelief. What is it? Sarah asks, coming downstairs. The insurance company. Someone called them about an incident here last weekend. Sarah's face crumples. What kind of incident? I don't know, but they're asking about liability coverage for unregistered guests. We look at each other in growing horror. Not only has Kayla been running an illegal rental operation, but something happened that was serious enough for someone to contact our insurance company. Mark, Sarah says quietly, what if someone got hurt? What if there was property damage we don't know about? Before I can answer, there's a knock at the front door. The knock at the front door comes again, more insistent this time. 3 sharp raps followed by what sounds like someone testing the door handle. Mr. Davidson. A voice calls through the door. This is Officer Martinez with Campus Police. We need to speak with you about an incident report. Campus Police. My legs suddenly feel like jelly as I walk to the front door, Sarah close behind me. Through the peephole, I can see a uniformed officer holding a clipboard. I open the door slowly. Can I help you? Officer Martinez is younger than I expected, maybe early 30s, with the kind of serious expression that makes my stomach drop. Are you Mark Davidson, homeowner at this address? Yes. And is Kayla Morrison a resident here? I glance back at Sarah, who nods grimly. She's my stepdaughter. She lives here, yes. Sir, we received a complaint about an incident that occurred at this address last Saturday night. Multiple witnesses reported a large gathering that resulted in property damage and what appears to be an assault. An assault? Sarah's voice cracks behind me. The officer consults his clipboard. According to the report, there was a fight between several male students over money owed for accommodations. One individual was treated for a concussion at the campus medical center. He claims he was staying here as a paying guest when the altercation occurred. My mind races back to last weekend. Sarah had been working a double shift at the hospital, and I'd been at my weekly poker game until almost 2 a.m. When I came home, the house had been quiet and dark. Kayla claimed she'd been studying in her room all evening. Officer, I need to be very clear about something, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. My wife and I were not home Saturday night, and we had no knowledge of any gathering at our residence. But you're aware that Ms. Morrison has been hosting paying guests. The way he phrases it, paying guests, makes it sound so much worse than Kayla's casual, friends helping with gas money, explanation. We only discovered that this morning, Sarah says, stepping up beside me. We had no idea she was charging people to stay here. Officer Martinez makes a note on his clipboard. The injured party is claiming he paid $50 to stay here Saturday night through some kind of rental arrangement. He says when other guests arrived who had apparently paid for the same room, a fight broke out over sleeping arrangements. A fight over sleeping arrangements. In our house. While we were gone. Sir, what exactly are our legal obligations here? I ask. Because we genuinely had no knowledge of any of this. That's complicated, he admits. Technically, if Ms. Morrison was operating without your knowledge, you may not be liable for the incident itself. But there are questions about whether this constitutes an unlicensed rental business, which could involve city ordinances, tax implications, and insurance fraud. Insurance fraud. The words hit like a physical blow. The injured party is also asking about his money back, Officer Martinez continues. Apparently there's a whole group of students who paid this Ms. Morrison for future stays, and now they're being told the arrangement is cancelled. How much money are we talking about? Sarah asks weakly. The officer flips through his papers. Based on the complaints we've received so far today, at least $1,500. But more people keep calling. $1,500. The shoebox upstairs suddenly seems a lot more significant. There's something else, Officer Martinez says, his expression growing more serious. The injured party mentioned that Ms. Morrison told him and his friends they were welcome to use all the amenities of the house, including what she described as a fully stocked bar in your basement. Sarah grabs my arm. Mark, your bourbon collection. My heart sinks. I've got over $2,000 worth of premium bourbon in my basement bar setup, bottles I've been collecting for years. Some of them are irreplaceable. I need to check something, I tell the officer, already heading toward the basement stairs. What I find down there makes my vision blur with rage. The basement looks like a tornado hit it. My carefully organized bar setup is destroyed, bottles knocked over, liquid staining the concrete floor, and the smell of expensive bourbon mixed with cheap beer hanging heavy in the air. But it's not just the mess that makes my hands shake with fury. It's what's missing. My Pappy Van Winkle, I whisper, staring at the empty space where my most prized bottle used to sit. 23 years old, worth over $3,000, a gift from my father before he passed away. Gone. Sarah appears at the bottom of the stairs, takes one look at the destruction, and sinks onto the bottom step. Oh my God, Mark. Officer Martinez follows, surveying the damage with professional detachment. This wasn't mentioned in the initial report. You'll want to document everything for insurance purposes. The bottles that are missing, I say, my voice barely controlled, some of them are worth more than most people's cars. I start taking inventory, and it gets worse with every empty space I find. The Macallan 25. The limited edition Blantons. A bottle of Hibiki I'd been saving for my anniversary with Sarah. Thousands of dollars worth of irreplaceable whiskey, stolen by college kids who probably don't even know what they were drinking. Sir, Officer Martinez says, given the value of the missing items, this moves beyond simple property damage. You're looking at felony theft charges. My phone buzzes with another unknown number. Then another. Sarah's phone starts ringing too. Don't answer, I tell her, but she's already looking at the caller ID. It's my sister, she says. I should. Sarah. What the hell is going on? My sister-in-law's voice is loud enough for me to hear from across the room. Some kid just called me asking about getting his deposit back for your student rental business. He said he got my number from Kayla. Sarah closes her eyes. She's been giving out family phone numbers. How many people has she told about this? Officer Martinez asks, making more notes. Before anyone can answer, there's commotion upstairs, voices, footsteps, someone calling, hello, like they own the place. Are you expecting anyone? The officer asks. No, I say, but I'm already heading for the stairs with a sick feeling in my stomach. In the kitchen, I find two college-aged guys going through my refrigerator like it's perfectly normal. Hey there. One of them waves cheerfully. You must be Mark. Kayla told us so much about you guys. Thanks for being cool about the whole rental thing. Most parents are way more uptight. We brought our own beer this time, the other one adds proudly, holding up a 12-pack. Didn't want to drink all your good stuff. Officer Martinez appears behind me, and both kids freeze when they see the uniform. Gentlemen, the officer says calmly, you need to leave this property immediately. But we paid for the weekend, the first guy protests, pulling out his phone. Look, here's the Venmo confirmation. $60 for 2 nights. Kayla said her parents were totally cool with college kids staying here. Her parents were never informed of any arrangement, Officer Martinez explains. You've been the victim of unauthorized charges. Wait, what? The second guy looks genuinely confused. So this isn't like an Airbnb thing? Kayla said you guys specifically set this up for students because you wanted to help kids save money on hotels. The lies keep getting bigger. Not only has Kayla been charging people to stay in my house, she's been telling them elaborate stories about our supposed involvement and approval. How did you get in? I ask, dreading the answer. Key under the flower pot, just like Kayla said. Although it wasn't there, so we used the spare she gave us. He holds up a key I've never seen before. Sarah grabs my arm. Mark, how many keys did she make? My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number, hey. Running about an hour late but should be there by 9 p.m. Is the pizza fund still the same Venmo account? Can't wait to party at the Davidson house again. The Davidson house. She's been branding our home like it's some kind of tourist destination. Officer Martinez looks at his watch. Mr. Davidson, I think we need to have a much longer conversation about this situation. And you may want to call a locksmith. Today. I'm staring at my phone, watching notification after notification pop up from unknown numbers, when Sarah makes a sound I've never heard before, something between a sob and a laugh that has nothing to do with humor. Mark, she whispers, holding her phone out to me with a trembling hand. Look at this. It's a screenshot she found on social media. Someone posted a photo of our living room from last weekend with the caption, best party house near campus. Thanks to the Davidson fam for being the coolest hosts ever. Party popper clinking beer mugs, hashtag party parents, hashtag student life, hashtag blessed. The post has 43 likes and dozens of comments. Kids tagging their friends, asking for contact info for next weekend, calling us party parents like we're some kind of local celebrities. There are more, Sarah says, scrolling through her phone. Someone made a whole Instagram story about our epic basement bar and how Mr. D has the best bourbon collection ever. Officer Martinez peers over her shoulder and whistles low. Ma'am, you're going to want to screenshot all of this for evidence. And I'd recommend reporting the theft of those bottles sooner rather than later. That's when my phone rings with a number I actually recognize, my homeowner's insurance agent, Jennifer. I have to take this, I tell Officer Martinez, stepping into the hallway. Mark, thank God you called me back, Jennifer's voice is tense. I've been getting calls all morning about your property. We need to discuss your policy immediately. Jennifer, I need you to understand that my wife and I had absolutely no knowledge. Mark, stop. Her voice cuts through my explanation. That's not why I'm calling. We've been contacted by 3 separate attorneys today representing different parties who were allegedly injured or had property damaged at gatherings on your property. 3 attorneys. My legs go weak, and I lean against the wall for support. What kind of injuries are we talking about? The concussion Officer Martinez mentioned is just the beginning. We've got a young woman claiming she fell down your stairs and broke her wrist. Another student saying he was poisoned by contaminated alcohol from your basement bar. And a third party claiming their laptop was destroyed when your rental guest spilled beer on it during a fight. Each revelation feels like a physical blow. Jennifer, these people were in my home without my knowledge or consent. That may be true, Mark, but your stepdaughter was acting as your agent as far as these people knew. They paid money, they have receipts, and they were told this was an authorized arrangement. From a legal standpoint, that creates liability. How much liability? There's a pause that stretches too long. The preliminary claims total just over $40,000. $40,000. I slide down the wall until I'm sitting on the floor. But here's the bigger problem, Jennifer continues. Operating an unlicensed rental business invalidates key portions of your homeowner's coverage. If these claims proceed, we may not be able to defend them under your current policy. The phone slips from my hand and clatters on the floor. Through the kitchen doorway, I can see Sarah talking to Officer Martinez, both of them looking increasingly grim. The two college kids are still standing by my refrigerator, now looking scared and confused. My phone buzzes against the floor, another text from another unknown number. Yo. Party at the Davidsons tonight. BYOB, but they've got the sickest setup. Kayla said her stepdad is buying pizza for everyone who shows up before 10. I pick up the phone and scroll up through the message thread. There are dozens of messages from numbers I don't recognize, all talking about tonight like it's some kind of scheduled event. Kids coordinating rides, discussing what beer to bring, arguing about who gets the good couch in the basement. Kayla hasn't just been running a rental business out of my house. She's been throwing parties. Regular, scheduled parties. Tonight included. And according to these texts, 20 to 30 college kids are planning to show up at my door in less than 3 hours, expecting me to buy them pizza. The realization hits me like ice water in my veins. I need to find Kayla. Now. Not just to tear her a new one, but because I'm starting to understand that this nightmare is far from over. Officer Martinez, I call out, struggling to my feet. I need to file a formal report. Multiple reports, actually. He looks up from his conversation with Sarah. What kind of reports, sir? Theft. Fraud. Operating an illegal business. And. I pause, the words feeling surreal as I say them. I need to press charges against my stepdaughter. Sarah's face goes white. Mark, you can't be serious. $40,000 in insurance claims, Sarah. $40,000. Plus the stolen alcohol, the property damage, and God knows what else we haven't discovered yet. I show them the group text thread on my phone. Officer Martinez reads over the messages, his expression growing darker with each screenshot. Mr. Davidson, this shows a pattern of organized events, not isolated incidents. Your stepdaughter has essentially been advertising your property as a party venue. He looks up at me gravely. Sir, you need to understand, some of these messages suggest underage drinking has been occurring here regularly. Jesus Christ, I breathe. If the authorities find out our property has been used for providing alcohol to minors, we're looking at criminal charges on top of everything else. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a call from a number with a local area code. Mr. Davidson. This is Rebecca Chen from the City Planning Office. We've received multiple noise complaints about your address, and there are questions about whether you're operating a commercial lodging business without proper permits. I close my eyes. Of course. The neighbors have been complaining too. Ma'am, my wife and I were completely unaware. Sir, ignorance of the law isn't a defense. If commercial lodging activities have been taking place at your residence, you're in violation of residential zoning ordinances. The fines can be substantial. After she hangs up, I turn to Sarah, who's been listening to every word. We need to find Kayla. She has to fix this. Mark, she's 19 years old. How is she supposed to fix $40,000 in insurance claims? She'll figure it out. She got us into this mess, she can damn well help get us out. Officer Martinez clears his throat. Mr. Davidson, I have to warn you, if you're planning to confront Ms. Morrison, you need to be very careful about how you approach this. Given the dollar amounts involved, this could easily become a criminal matter. It already is a criminal matter. My voice echoes off the walls. She's been committing fraud, theft, running an illegal business, possibly contributing to the delinquency of minors. How is this not already criminal? Before anyone can answer, there's another knock at the front door. Through the window, I can see a woman in a business suit holding a briefcase. Are you expecting anyone? Officer Martinez asks. At this point, I'm not expecting anything good, I mutter, walking to the door. Mr. Davidson. I'm attorney Linda Walsh. I represent Brandon Mills, who was injured at your establishment last Saturday evening. Establishment. She's calling my house an establishment. My client is seeking immediate compensation for his medical expenses and pain and suffering related to the unsafe conditions at your rental property. I look back at Officer Martinez, who gives me a subtle shake of his head, clearly advising me not to engage. Ma'am, you'll need to contact our insurance company. I'm not discussing any claims directly. Mr. Davidson, my client paid $50 for safe accommodations and instead was assaulted due to your negligent management of the premises. We can settle this quietly, or we can file suit. The word settlement sends a chill down my spine. This isn't going away. Even if we shut down Kayla's operation completely, we're looking at months of legal battles with people who think we've wronged them. And somewhere out there, Kayla is hiding with her friends, probably thinking this will all blow over if she just waits long enough. She has no idea what she's unleashed. I close the door on the attorney and turn back to Officer Martinez, my mind racing. How do I find Kayla? She's not answering her phone, and I have no idea where she actually went. Do you have access to her social media accounts? He suggests. Kids her age usually post their location. Sarah's already pulling up Instagram on her phone. I follow her on here. Oh my God, Mark. She shows me the screen. Posted 2 hours ago, a photo of Kayla and 3 friends at what looks like a restaurant, all holding mimosas and laughing. The caption reads, celebrating my newfound freedom from toxic family. Bottle with popping cork sparkles. Thanks to everyone who supported my business venture, you made this independence possible. Hashtag entrepreneur life, hashtag family drama, hashtag living my best life. Business venture, I repeat slowly. She's treating this like some kind of success story. The comments under the post make my blood pressure spike even higher. Dozens of her friends congratulating her on standing up for herself and escaping controlling parents. Several asking if her rental service is still available. But it's one comment that makes my stomach drop. Girl, you better get back there tonight. Tyler's bringing like 30 people and they already paid. They're gonna be pissed if you no-show. Face screaming in fear. Officer Martinez, I say urgently, according to this, 30 people are still planning to show up here tonight expecting a party. He looks at the comment thread and curses under his breath. Mr. Davidson, you need to understand something. If 30 college kids show up here tonight believing they've paid for access to your property, and you refuse them entry, things could get very ugly very fast. What do you mean ugly? I mean drunk college kids who think they've been ripped off don't typically just walk away quietly. Especially if they've coordinated transportation and bought alcohol specifically for an event here. My phone buzzes with a text from yet another unknown number. Hey Mr. D. Super excited for tonight. Should we bring the karaoke machine like last time? Like last time? How many last times have there been that I don't know about? Sarah, I say, showing her the text, did you know we apparently own a karaoke machine? Her face crumples. Mark, what if this has been going on for months? What if every time we thought she was having a quiet night in, she was actually throwing parties? Before I can answer, Officer Martinez's radio crackles to life. Unit 47, we're getting reports of a large group gathering in the parking lot behind Murphy's bar. Multiple subjects asking about transportation to the Davidson Party House. Requesting backup for potential crowd control. The Davidson Party House. Our home has become a destination with its own reputation. That's it, I say, pulling out my phone. I'm calling every locksmith in town. Then I'm hiring a security company. If kids are going to show up here tonight, they're going to find a very different reception than they're expecting. Mark, wait, Sarah grabs my arm. What if we try to contact Kayla first? What if she can call it off? I stare at her in disbelief. Sarah, she's posting on social media about her business venture and celebrating her freedom. She's not going to call anything off. She's probably planning to show up here tonight to collect more money. Officer Martinez checks his watch. Mr. Davidson, it's 4 p.m. now. If this party is supposed to start at 8 or 9, you've got maybe 4 hours to secure your property and figure out how to handle what could be a very volatile situation. What about getting a restraining order? Sarah asks desperately. Can we legally bar her from the property? That takes time you don't have, the officer replies. But Mr. Davidson, I strongly recommend you document everything that's been damaged and file formal theft charges. The sooner you establish that this was unauthorized activity, the better your legal position becomes. As if summoned by his words, my phone rings again. This time it's a number I don't recognize, but the area code is local. Mr. Davidson. This is Channel 7 News. We received a tip about an unusual rental scam operating out of residential properties near the university. Would you be available for an interview? The media. Of course someone called the media. No comment, I say quickly, hanging up. The news? Sarah's voice cracks. Mark, what if this becomes public? What if it affects your job? I hadn't thought about that, but she's right. I work in financial services. Having my name associated with unlicensed rental operations, insurance fraud, and underage drinking parties could destroy my career. And Kayla is still out there, posting celebratory photos and treating this entire disaster like some kind of victory. The worst part. Based on those social media comments, she has no intention of stopping. The security company can't get anyone out until tomorrow morning. 3 locksmith services are booked solid until Monday. And according to Officer Martinez's radio updates, the crowd at Murphy's bar has grown to at least 50 people, all apparently coordinating rides to my house. We need to leave, I tell Sarah, pacing around our kitchen like a caged animal. Pack essentials and get a hotel room for the weekend. We're not abandoning our own house. She's got that stubborn set to her jaw that usually means she's right about something, but this isn't the time for principles. Sarah, 50 drunk college kids are about to descend on our property expecting a party that we can't provide. What exactly do you think happens when they realize they've been scammed? Officer Martinez ends his radio call and turns to us grimly. Mr. Davidson, I just spoke with my sergeant. We can have units patrol your street tonight, but we can't station officers here permanently. And if these kids have receipts showing they paid for access, the legal situation becomes complicated. Complicated how? They could argue they have a legitimate expectation of service based on their payments. Until you can definitively prove Kayla acted without authorization, they might have grounds to demand entry or full refunds. My phone buzzes with a text that makes my blood run cold. Mr. Davidson, this is Jake from Pi Kappa Alpha. We paid Kayla $300 for tonight's event. 20 of our guys are already on their way. Looking forward to meeting you. $300. From one fraternity. God knows how much money she's collected for tonight alone. Sarah reads the text over my shoulder and sinks into a kitchen chair. Mark, what if we can't pay everyone back? What if the insurance company won't cover the damages? What if we lose the house? Before I can answer, there's a commotion outside. Car doors slamming, voices calling out, the unmistakable sound of a large group arriving. I look out the front window and my worst fears are confirmed. 3 cars full of college kids are pulling into my driveway. Party time, someone shouts from outside. Davidson house, here we come. Officer Martinez is already moving toward the front door. Stay behind me, he tells us. Let me handle this. The doorbell rings, followed immediately by loud knocking and voices calling, hey. We're here for the party. Kayla said to just walk in. Officer Martinez opens the door to reveal 8 college kids holding cases of beer, a Bluetooth speaker, and what appears to be party decorations. They're dressed for a celebration, not a confrontation. Good evening, the officer says calmly. I need you all to step back from the door. The kids stop mid-celebration, suddenly noticing the uniform. A blonde girl in the front of the group looks confused. Oh, hi. Are you providing security for tonight? That's so cool that the Davidsons went all out. They think he's hired security. They think we've upgraded our party services. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding, Officer Martinez explains. There is no party happening here tonight. What do you mean? A guy holding a case of beer steps forward. We paid Kayla like 2 weeks ago. Look, I've got the Venmo receipt right here. He shows his phone to the officer, and I can see from where I'm standing that it's legitimate, $50 sent to an account labeled Kayla Party Fund with the memo Davidson House Weekend Bash. More cars are pulling up. I count at least 15 more people getting out, all carrying alcohol, all looking excited and expectant. Some are taking selfies in front of my house like it's a tourist destination. This is a nightmare, Sarah whispers behind me. The crowd is growing louder as more people arrive and the news spreads that there might not be a party. I can hear frustration building in their voices. These kids paid money, made plans, bought alcohol, and now they're being told it was all a lie. Where's Kayla? Someone shouts from the crowd. She promised us the party of the semester. That's when I see her. Pulling up in her car behind the crowd of students, windows down, music playing, acting like she's arriving at her own coronation. She has no idea what's about to happen. The sight of Kayla's car pulling up behind the crowd of increasingly agitated college students fills me with a rage so pure it's almost blinding. She parks casually, like she's arriving at her own personal celebration, completely oblivious to the police presence or the fact that Officer Martinez is currently explaining to 30-plus students that they've been scammed. She gets out of her car laughing, her phone pressed to her ear, and I can hear her voice carrying over the crowd noise. Yeah, tonight's going to be epic. I've got like 50 people confirmed and the money is insane. That's when she notices the crowd isn't celebrating, they're arguing. Her voice trails off mid-sentence as she takes in Officer Martinez's uniform, the confused faces of her customers, and finally spots me standing in the doorway with an expression that could melt steel. Oh shit, I see her mouth the words as the reality of the situation hits her. Kayla. The blonde girl who thought Officer Martinez was hired security spots her and pushes through the crowd. What the hell is going on? They're saying there's no party. The entire group turns toward Kayla like a pack of wolves who found their prey. I watch her face cycle through emotions, panic, defiance, and finally that manipulative charm she's perfected over the years. Guys, calm down. She holds up her hands, that fake smile plastered on her face. There's just been a little miscommunication with my parents. Everything's fine. Miscommunication. The guy with the beer case steps toward her aggressively. We paid you $300, Kayla. My entire fraternity chipped in for this. And I drove 4 hours, another voice shouts from the crowd. You promised us the best party house near campus. I can see Kayla's confidence starting to crack as more voices join in, each one angrier than the last. These kids didn't just lose money, they coordinated schedules, bought alcohol, made this the centerpiece of their weekend plans. Look, everyone just needs to chill, Kayla says, but her voice is getting higher, more strained. Maybe we can work something out. Work something out. A girl near the back of the crowd pushes forward, and I recognize her from the Instagram photos in our basement. She was here for the party where my bourbon was stolen. Kayla, your stepdad's basement is trashed. There's broken glass everywhere and half the booze is gone. What kind of operation are you running? Sarah grabs my arm. Mark, this is about to get ugly. She's right. The crowd is getting louder, more confrontational. Someone starts chanting, refund. Refund, and others join in. Kayla looks around desperately, searching for an escape route, but she's surrounded by angry college students who want their money back. That's when her eyes meet mine across the crowd, and for just a moment, I see the scared 11-year-old girl I once knew. The kid who used to run to me when she had nightmares, who begged me to teach her to ride a bike, who called me Dad until she decided I wasn't good enough anymore. But then her expression hardens, and she does something that makes my blood pressure spike into the stratosphere. Actually, guys, she announces to the crowd, her voice carrying that entitled tone I've grown to hate, this is all his fault. She points directly at me. My stepdad is trying to shut down my business because he's jealous of my success. He's being totally unreasonable about everything. The crowd turns to look at me, and I can feel the mood shifting. Instead of angry customers demanding refunds from Kayla, they're starting to see me as the villain who's ruining their party. That's not true, I call out, but my voice gets swallowed by the noise. He's been sabotaging me from the beginning. Kayla continues, working the crowd like a politician. All I was doing was helping students save money on hotels, and he can't stand that I was being independent. And just like that, I realize this nightmare is about to get so much worse. Mr. Davidson never authorized this business. Officer Martinez shouts over the growing crowd noise, but I can see he's losing control of the situation. The students are starting to side with Kayla, viewing me as the unreasonable adult crushing a young entrepreneur's dreams. This is such bullshit, yells the fraternity guy with the beer case. You're really going to ruin 50 people's weekend because you don't like your stepdaughter making money? More voices join in, and I realize with growing horror that Kayla's manipulation is actually working. To these kids, I'm not the victim of fraud, I'm the mean stepfather trying to destroy Kayla's business. Guys, listen, Kayla continues, her confidence building as she feeds off the crowd's energy. Maybe if we all just go inside and talk to him reasonably, he'll see that what I'm doing isn't hurting anyone. No. My voice cuts through the noise like a whip crack. Nobody is going inside my house. That's when someone in the back of the crowd shouts, we already paid. You can't just steal our money. The word steal ripples through the group, and I watch their mood turn uglier. These aren't just disappointed partygoers anymore, they're starting to see themselves as victims of theft. Where's our $300, old man? The fraternity leader takes a step toward me, and Officer Martinez immediately moves between us. Everyone needs to step back, the officer commands, but there are now close to 60 people in my front yard, with more cars still arriving. It's one cop against a mob of drunk, angry college students who think they've been ripped off. That's when Kayla plays her ace card. You know what, guys, she announces, pulling out her phone. I'm live streaming this whole thing. Everyone needs to see how toxic family members try to destroy young women's independence. She's live streaming. Broadcasting our family crisis to God knows how many followers while standing in front of my house with a crowd of increasingly hostile students. Turn that off, I demand, but she's already holding the phone up, narrating to her audience. So here's my stepdad, literally calling the police on me for trying to run a small business helping college students. This is what financial abuse looks like, everyone. Financial abuse. She's accusing me of financial abuse while standing next to evidence of her stealing thousands of dollars from my home. My phone starts buzzing with notifications, messages, tags, friend requests from complete strangers who are watching this unfold live on social media. Our private family disaster is becoming public entertainment. Kayla, stop this right now, Sarah pleads, stepping forward from behind me. Oh, and here's my mom, who always takes his side. Kayla swings the camera toward Sarah. Say hi to everyone, Mom. Tell them how you're choosing your husband over your own daughter. I can see tears starting in Sarah's eyes, and something inside me snaps. This isn't just about money anymore, or property damage, or even the legal nightmare we're facing. Kayla is deliberately trying to destroy her mother's relationship with me, using our crisis as content for social media clout. Officer Martinez, I say quietly, I want to press charges. All of them. Theft, fraud, operating an illegal business, everything. But before he can respond, someone in the crowd yells, if you won't give us our party, at least give us our money back. Yeah, another voice joins in. Pay us back right now or we're not leaving. The crowd surges forward slightly, and I realize we've crossed a line. This isn't just a family argument anymore, it's a potential riot in my front yard, being broadcast live on the internet. And Kayla is still filming, still narrating, still painting herself as the victim while everything I've worked for crumbles around me. The chaos in my front yard reaches a breaking point when 3 more police cars arrive with sirens blaring. The crowd of 60-plus students suddenly realizes this isn't just one campus cop dealing with a noise complaint, this is becoming a serious law enforcement situation. Everyone step back from the property line, a sergeant commands through a bullhorn. This is now an active investigation. Kayla's live stream suddenly doesn't seem so entertaining when students start backing away from what's clearly becoming an arrest situation. I watch her face go pale as she realizes her performance has attracted way more attention than she bargained for. Ma'am, end the recording and put your phone away, Officer Martinez tells Kayla firmly. You're interfering with a police investigation. I have rights, she protests, but her voice wavers when she sees the sergeant approaching with handcuffs. Yes, you do. Including the right to remain silent, the sergeant says. Kayla Morrison, you're under arrest for operating an unlicensed business, theft over $1,000, and fraud. The crowd goes dead silent as they watch Kayla get handcuffed in my driveway. Her live stream ends abruptly when her phone gets confiscated as evidence. What about our money? Someone calls out weakly, but the fight has gone out of the crowd completely. Anyone who paid money to Ms. Morrison will need to file a report at the station, the sergeant announces. This is now a criminal fraud case. 3 months later. I'm sitting in a courtroom watching Kayla fidget at the defendant's table as the judge reviews the restitution order. The final tally was staggering, over $4,000 in cash collected from students, $8,000 in stolen and damaged property, and $15,000 in legal fees and court costs. Ms. Morrison, Judge Peterson says sternly, operating an unlicensed rental business while committing theft and fraud are serious charges. However, given your age and lack of prior record, I'm willing to consider the plea agreement. The plea deal required Kayla to pay full restitution, perform 200 hours of community service, and most importantly, publicly acknowledge her crimes. No more claiming she was the victim of financial abuse. Do you accept responsibility for operating an illegal business without the property owner's knowledge or consent? The judge asks. Kayla glances back at Sarah and me in the gallery. For the first time in months, she looks genuinely remorseful instead of defiant. Yes, Your Honor, she says quietly. I knew what I was doing was wrong. The insurance company ultimately covered most of the property damage after a fraud claim was substantiated. Kayla had to get a job at a local restaurant to start paying restitution, and her college fund is now garnished to cover the legal fees she owes us. But the real victory isn't financial. After court, Sarah and I walked to our car in comfortable silence. Our marriage survived the crisis, stronger, actually, because we faced it together instead of letting Kayla's manipulation drive us apart. Do you think she'll actually learn from this? Sarah asks as we drive home. I consider the question carefully. I think she learned that actions have consequences. Whether that changes her character, we'll see. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Mr. Davidson, this is Tyler from the party night. Just wanted to say I'm sorry about everything. Kayla totally scammed all of us too. Hope your house is okay. It's the first apology I've received from any of the students involved. Maybe some of them learned something too. When we get home, I pour myself a glass of the new bourbon I bought to replace what was stolen. Sarah joins me on the porch, and we sit quietly watching the sunset over our peaceful, party-free property. So, Sarah says eventually, what do we do if she asks to move back in when this is all over? I take a sip of my bourbon and smile. We tell her to check our new house rules. First one being, absolutely no business ventures allowed.